Live from WFSB, Connecticut's first choice for news. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 6.
Today, hundreds of police officers buried one of their own, a New Haven officer well known in the community for his hard work. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Dennis House.
And I'm Denise DeCenzo. Today was the first of two funerals for two fallen police officers.
Officers from near and far came to pay tribute to New Haven police officer Dan Picagli, killed last week after being hit by an SUV.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Leon Collins is live with the mobile newsroom in East Haven now with more on the tribute today. Leon?
Well, Dennis and Denise, there were many people here, many police officers, many firefighters, many emergency workers in uniform, out of uniform, who came to East Haven, to Our Lady of Pompeii here this morning to pay their respects to the most recently fallen New Haven police officer. I looked inside the church briefly this morning. All of the pews, every row was filled, and you could see officers in uniform as they lined both sides of the church, standing shoulder to shoulder as everyone looked forward to the altar in front of which Dan Picagli's casket stood there. Many people teary-eyed, long faces here, remembering the man who touched the lives of so many children in New Haven while he did his job as a New Haven police officer. This procession, this funeral that happened here this morning was one that officers came to from across Connecticut. Many towns represented here. We saw a lot of the motorcycle contingent at the front of the procession was from Hartford. We saw officers who rode down this morning all the way from Providence, Rhode Island, to attend their fallen brother here, and it was quite moving as the procession ended and the funeral service began. I'm sorry we're experiencing some difficulties. Perhaps we can get a chance during the newscast in a few minutes to show you what exactly happened here at Our Lady of Pompeii. Dennis and Denise, back to you.
Leon, we're going to try to do that. Thank you very much. Also today in Wethersfield, mourners attended the wake of a Hartford police officer killed over the weekend. 35-year-old Hartford Police Sergeant Matthew Arace. He died when his car slammed into a tractor trailer early Saturday morning as he was headed home. Calling hours will be going on until 8 o'clock tonight at the DeSopo Funeral Home in Wethersfield. And the funeral for Sergeant Arace will be held tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Holy Trinity Church in downtown Hartford. As a result, several streets will be closed off from 8 a.m. to noon for the procession. They are Capitol Avenue from Main to West Streets, Hudson Street from Pulaski Circle to Buckingham Street, as well as Linden Place and Whitman Court.
Also in Hartford, we're following breaking news right now. Traffic is still clogged and people remain without power after a car crash on Airport Road in the South End. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Diana Rocco is live with the mobile newsroom on the scene with details. Diana, what do you know?
Well, Dennis, I'm standing on the corner of Locust Street and Airport Road, and the road's blocked off for about a block up the road all the way to Wethersfield Avenue. Meanwhile, traffic is being detoured down Locust Street. Crews have been on the scene here for hours now, and they've been able to replace the pole. They put in a new utility pole. It was hit by a car. That has caused all of these problems, the outages. You can see half the pole is still hanging there. There's wires down all over the road and lights hanging in the street, all due to that accident this afternoon. Tonight, 200 people are without power and businesses forced to close, all due to this. A car hit a utility pole this afternoon, cracking it in half, leaving lights hanging in the street and a mess of scattered wires everywhere. Traffic was diverted while crews work to restore power. Connecticut Light and Power, DOT, and AT&T are on the scene here. They're the ones cleaning up this mess. As a result of these outages, the adult education classes at Hartford Public High School Locust Street branch will be canceled tonight. They're hoping to have all of this cleaned up by 7 o'clock. We're live in Hartford with the mobile newsroom. Diana Rocco, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Police are now investigating a fourth fire near the UConn campus in Mansfield. The latest fire happened on Warrenville Road this morning. This is the third fire on this road alone in just a month. It is in the same area where two earlier fires have been ruled to be arson. Investigators say this incident seems to be strikingly similar 2 other fires.
All new tonight at 6, Manchester police have arrested 2 people in a credit card scheme, and officers say this crime is something similar to what they've seen before. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Len Besthoff is live with the mobile newsroom in Manchester with the details. Len?
Now, police are definitely wondering if this is more than a coincidence. They say they found 16 fake credit cards on these suspects after they were caught at a Best Buy. For the second time in 2 months, police caught people trying to commit the same kind of credit card fraud in the Best Buy near the shops at Buckland Hills. Investigators say 19-year-old Sherry Chen and 31-year-old Ming Wang tried to buy iPods and a $2,000 laptop with credit cards that they actually made. The numbers they acquired were authentic, just not theirs.
Honestly, if it happened again, they think that they can get it through undetected.
And the suspects had something else in common with the people in the September fraud. They were also from New York and also of Asian descent.
We're going to be still investigating, obviously, further to find out what the connection is and, you know, what the target, the specific store is, you know, what the draw is.
Now, police caught Wong right after he tried to make the purchase. Chen actually fled to a nearby restaurant, and that's where she was arrested. Both are being held tonight on a $250,000 bond each. We're live with the mobile newsroom. Len Besthoff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
New information now on a deadly shooting in Milford that happened nearly 3 years ago. 2 people have been arrested in connection with the shooting in 2003 outside the Kangaroo nightclub. 27-year-old William Evans and 25-year-old Tiffany Fulton are now both charged in the shooting of Tyrell Harris and Jerome Brantley. Harris was killed. Police say Evans and another suspect shot the victims. That other suspect is being held on unrelated charges in New Jersey, and a warrant for his arrest has been issued here in Connecticut.
Tonight we're learning about a scare at the Veterans Home in Rocky Hill, the discovery of a gun. Officials say on Monday morning a staffer at the Veterans Home found a black powder .45 caliber antique weapon in the possession of one of the residents, along with enough gunpowder and lead balls. The man had the weapon is a veteran who is in his 50s, and after he's treated, he will be discharged from the home for breaking the rules.
Well, some people have already made up their minds when it comes to who they'll vote for in the Senate race, but is the decision affected by different ads?
And now with the internet, you know what?
A Sesame Street doll hauled into the evidence room. What was found inside it that led to a huge bust for police? Tonight on Eyewitness News at 11.
All new tonight at 6. Mills in our state are monuments to a glorious industrial past, but they are now causing some big headaches to cities all across the state. So what can be done to preserve these mills before they become dangerous fire traps? Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Kevin Hogan is live with the mobile newsroom in Stonington with details. Kevin?
Well, Dennis, you might remember 3 short years ago, the giant Atwood Mill complex, which is right behind us in the borough of Stonington, burned down to the ground. You know, if the wind were blowing then as it is right now, the borough would have been lost. But today, the state fire marshal's office says mills like this and others, they want the cities and the towns who have these structures to start putting a plan in action, a plan in place to identify them and what's in them. This past summer's mill fire in Windsor Locks ignited something else, a statewide effort to create a fire prevention checklist for municipalities so infernos like this can be prevented.
If your buildings in town remain unabated, remain unsafe to any measure, you're not done.
Fire marshals from all over Connecticut met today at Central Connecticut State University to talk about the burdens that vacant ancient mills put on towns and cities. Millions of federal and state dollars were spent last year to help clean up the Interoyal Mill fire in Plainfield.
Yet there's nothing available to us for the most dangerous portion of the building that still remains.
3/4 of the property did not burn. That's where most of the chemical processing was completed in that portion of the building. Waterbury has the highest concentration of mills that are either vacant or already converted into housing.
Be able to develop procedures and protocols for our members to operate safely at incidents at these types of properties.
When the mill in Stonington went up, it was already undergoing renovation to be converted into housing. 3 years later, property owners are moving in to a brand new old-style mill. Now, today, every fire marshal that was in attendance at that meeting got this field manual. It's to help them identify these old mills and abandoned properties and what's inside them. Live at the mobile newsroom in Stonington, Kevin Hogan, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Kevin, now back to our top story. The funeral today for New Haven police officer Dan Picagli, who was killed at a construction site hit by an SUV.
Officers from all over the country and as far away as Canada came to pay tribute to Officer Picagli, killed just last week, as Denise mentioned. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Leon Collins is live with the mobile newsroom in East Haven with more on the tribute.
Leon?
Well, Denise and Dennis, New Haven police officer Dan Picagli's colleagues remember him as someone who loved both of his families, his family at home and his family of men and women on the job. Hundreds of uniformed public safety personnel from across Connecticut and New England filled the grounds at All Saints Cemetery in North Haven early this afternoon to honor fallen New Haven police officer Dan Picagli. Following a procession from Our Lady of Pompeii Church in East Haven, New Haven Police Chief Francisco Ortiz searched for the right words on such a difficult day.
I can tell you that as the head of the agency, you wish you could do more, you know. I mean, I have this overwhelming guilt that, you know, if there's anything I could have done to save this officer's life and have prevented today's events. I mean, they're more than just employees. When you're the chief of police, their family and their colleagues, and they go out and they do such wonderful things.
Officer Picagli, who ran New Haven's Police Athletic League, died Saturday following an accident early last week in which a federal judge drove an SUV that struck him. Picagli was working an extra duty shift at a road construction site at the time. Earlier this morning at Our Lady of Pompeii, officers stood at attention while pallbearers carried Officer Picagli's flag-draped casket into the church. The funeral procession closed down streets temporarily as police officers marched in formation and then led the hearse to the cemetery. Today, the doors to New Haven Police Headquarters were draped in black bunting to honor the man who was the first of New Haven's finest to die in the line of duty since 1970. New Haven police officer Dan Picagli is survived by his wife and 4 children. Reporting in East Haven, Leon Collins, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
In Milford, the search will soon be underway for the final resting place of dozens of soldiers killed in the Revolutionary War. A town historian says back in the 1700s, 46 soldiers were buried in a mass grave in a corner of the old Milford Cemetery after they died of smallpox. Well, today experts were out doing their preliminary investigation. A state archaeologist will visit the cemetery next week and use radar to try to locate that grave.
Voters will be heading to the polls in less than 2 weeks, but will the latest ads have an effect on campaign 2006?
Another brisk day in Connecticut with winds gusting to over 30 miles an hour. Calmer days are ahead. Eyewitness News in Stonington is in Stonington this evening with your early warning neighborhood forecast, and I'll have that for you coming up next.
Tom and Katie's wedding, the details only we can tell you. Next ET. Tonight at 7:30 on Channel 3. Your home for Eyewitness News.
Now to campaign 2006. With unusually tight races across the state, politicians are pouring millions into advertising, particularly television. Have you noticed? The question is, are the ads working? Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Dan Kain is live at the news desk with that story. Dan?
Well, it's hard to get a handle on how effective the political ads are. Some people say they're turned off by them. Others say they do affect their votes. But almost everyone agrees the ads this season seem particularly nasty.
And I approve this message.
And I approve this message.
I approve this message.
I approve this message.
The politicians may approve the messages, but the voters don't. They say the tone of this election is one of the worst in memory.
I think some of the ads are absolutely atrocious. They're malicious. They're taking things out of context that aren't real to malign their opponents, and I really think it should be stopped.
Do you think they're nasty?
They're getting nasty. Mm-hmm. Yep, very much so.
You enjoying them?
Kind of.
In general, people we talked with said they don't believe what they hear in political ads, but they do believe that others might.
I think that they're misleading. I think people who aren't educated politically will look at the ad and that will sway their decision, unfortunately, for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I think it's nastier than it has been, for sure.
Do the ads affect your vote?
The ads will affect my vote, yeah, for sure.
Some say this season's ads have convinced them of who they don't want to vote for rather than the other way around. And everyone seems to agree there are just too many of the ads around.
The same candidates, you know, they don't spread them out. It's one right after the other. And it does get very overwhelming, I think, you know, and especially when you're watching football.
It's good to have your priorities. The good news, or perhaps the bad news, is that it will all be over a week from Tuesday, so there's still plenty of time for folks to get the message out. A warning to viewers, buckle up. At the news desk, Dan Kain, Channel 3, Eyewitness News.
Now, Channel 3 early warning weather, powered by early warning pinpoint Doppler, tracking weather in your town and everywhere in Connecticut.
Big question is, will we approve the forecast tonight? Will we approve of that?
And not the weekend forecast. Saturday we're going to have rain. Some interesting facts about this weekend.
We don't approve of that, no.
No, we don't approve of that. But some interesting facts about the weekend. This is the weekend we turn our clocks back 1 hour.
Yes.
The good news is we get 1 extra hour this weekend, 49 instead of the usual 48. However, sunset on Sunday is at 4:49. The good news is next year we'll do this on November 4th. So the first Sunday of November with the new laws starting next year. Okay. All right, let's check out Channel 3's early warning pinpoint Doppler, and we are looking dry. And it's going to stay that way through the rest of the work week, but as I alluded to, we are going to see some major changes over the upcoming weekend. Skies are now mainly clear on our live city cam over Hartford. That is looking pretty, and that is looking pretty cool, too, as we look up at the Travelers Tower and the Phoenix building, and a few clouds still on our live city cam in New London, where the lights are on, with the sun having gone down at 5:54 this afternoon. As I said, Sunday, it'll be at 4:49. Right now, Channel 3's early warning pinpoint WeatherNet shows temperatures in the 40s to near 50. 50 Norwich, Groton, Meriden, and Hartford, but it's 45 in Torrington, 46 in Waterbury, and Enfield is coming in with 49. New Haven, you're pretty chilly at 48 degrees, and in Torrington today, there was a wind gust to 41 miles an hour. Why? Well, we have a big storm near Newfoundland and Canada. Big low pressure system spinning around there. High pressure in the Midwest, and between those two systems, a northwesterly flow. Very brisk, and that's going to continue as we head through tomorrow. But as high pressure comes closer to Connecticut on Friday, those winds will drop off, and that's going to set us up for frosty conditions Friday morning. The other thing I'm watching is all this rain. Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Right now it's moving east, but eventually a pretty good storm is going to move up the eastern seaboard, and the timing not very good. Saturday is the time it's going to hit us. Here's Channel 3's early warning futurecast, where we show you tomorrow's weather today. 7 o'clock this evening, clear to partly cloudy. The same holds true for tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., so it should be a pleasant morning commute. And during the day tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny skies. Still windy, but maybe not quite as windy as it was today. Now tonight it's going to be chilly, 40 in Hartford and New Haven, but many areas dipping into the mid and upper 30s. And town by town, your highs for tomorrow, around 52 in Hartford, so another windy, cool day. About the same in Bloomfield and Southington, 53 for a high in New Haven. The same is true for Middletown. You get up to Naugatuck, 52, Deep River, 54. Into the Western Hills, mid to upper 40s, including 48 in Litchfield. And in Eastern Connecticut, look for a high of 54 in New London, but only 41 or 51 rather in Coventry and in Ashford. Now here is your 7-day forecast. Friday, much lighter winds, frost in the morning, 55 in the afternoon with mostly sunny skies. Rain Saturday develops early in the morning, windy, 50. Sunday, partly sunny, windy and chilly, 50. Then we start to warm up next week. In fact, 59 is the current forecast for Halloween Day. Not bad for the trick-or-treaters for Tuesday evening. 50s along the shoreline as well as we head right through the weekend. Log on to WFSB.com and check out all the graphics that you normally see during our weathercasts, in addition to Channel 3's early warning pinpoint Doppler.
I'm John Holt at Madison Square Garden, where Big East Media Day has set the scene for the men's basketball season. A report is coming up in sports.
And coming up new at 11, a hospital charged with dumping patients on the street when they run out of money. And prosecutors say they have the pictures to prove it.
Plus, a New England town has this unusual calling card: why the pink flamingo city may soon be extinct.
Those stories are
now. Eyewitness Sports with Joe Zone.
They took the vote too soon. The Big East coaches picked UConn 5th this season in the preseason poll. 5th! But that was before they found out that UConn's big freshman center, Hasheem Thabit, can play. Thabit is a 7'3" center from Tanzania. He was waiting for the NCAA to make sure that he was academically eligible. He is. Imagine a Big East where UConn is rated 5th John Holt was in New York today to find out who everybody's talking about there.
Joe, UConn is picked 5th in the preseason media poll behind Pittsburgh, Georgetown, Syracuse, and Marquette. And the Pitt Panthers also have the preseason player of the year, 7-footer Aaron Gray.
All these accolades and awards that our team's receiving right now, I mean, it just kind of puts a bullseye on our back, you know. We kind of just look at it as a challenge. You know, it's just another thing that we're going to have to deal with, and another thing we're welcome.
We're not that highly ranked or whatever, you know. We're predicted to finish 5th here, so it's good for us, you know, less pressure and everything. So, you know, I think we're going to take the Big East and the whole country by surprise this year.
I'm really thrilled with them. I really believe that we're as equally talented as last year. Yes, we are much younger, but we're faster, we're quicker, and with a lot less experience. So as you put that whole kind of mix together, what does it mean? It means that it could be a very exciting year for Connecticut.
Talent can overcome the lack of experience. You know, freshman-dominated teams have had success recently because there aren't as many veteran teams around. And when you have great talent, and Connecticut has great talent, they're going to be very good this year, I think.
UConn landed 1 player on the preseason All-Big East team, sophomore forward Jeff Adrian. Reporting from Madison Square Garden, John Holt, Channel 3 Eyewitness Sports.
Well, it's not going to be much fun tonight in St. Louis. Game 4 of the World Series. Temperatures in the 40s, a light rain or drizzle just about all night. Pitcher Kenny Rogers is not scheduled to go again until Game 6 Saturday night in Detroit. That is, if there is a Game 6. Rogers went through his usual between starts routine today, some stretching, some warm-up tosses, looking for clumps of dirt and some pine tar. Game 4 tonight in St. Louis. Cards lead the series 2-1.
All the cameras will be focused on his hand, won't they?
At least for the next few days, that's for sure. Yeah.
All right. Do we have time for a last weather update? Oh, I'm hearing yes in my ear from the producer. You go ahead.
Well, let's give it. There it is right there. Everything you want to know. Tomorrow, windy, partly sunny. Friday, less wind and mostly sunny, but it may be a frosty start. A bad start to the weekend with rain, but better Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, which is Halloween, 59 for Halloween.
That'll be good. And that'll do it for Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 6. We thank you for sharing your time with us tonight.
It's time for us to go into the little box and say goodnight. We'll see you back here at 11.
Go.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News is always on. For breaking news, early warning weather, and webcasts anytime, go to WFSB.com.
Closed captioning brought to you by Hartford Hospital. More ways to make you better.
Caught on tape. Dog after dog snatched. Why dog nappings are on the rise. Next Inside Edition.
Tonight at 7 on Channel 3, your home for Eyewitness News.